I will say again, this is Lynn Jackson, the engagement manager, and I've been sending emails to you. But your presenter today is Treasure McKenzie, and Treasure will take it away and begin to start the session on orientation. So thanks, Treasure.
You're welcome. Hello, everyone. Good morning. I guess for most of you it's morning. For some of you it may be getting closer to the afternoon. So glad you could join us. Welcome to the National Addressing the Challenges of Poverty Conference. And we have it every year, and it's so fun. And it's going to look different this year, and it's going to be different for all of us. So we're going to learn how to do this conference together. So first, I'm just going to start off with a little bit about me. You guys have been telling us about you and where you're from. I am in Muskogee, Oklahoma, and we've been doing Bridges work for a little over almost 10 years now. And you can see some of our information here. We've graduated about 400 families from getting a head class. Personally, I grew up in generational poverty in a small town in southeastern Oklahoma. I was the first person in my family to go to college. I was the first person in my family to graduate college. My first job was at the Muskogee Chamber of Commerce. And 12 years later, I found myself the president of the Chamber of Commerce, which was a big city job for a small town girl that grew up in generational poverty. While I was at that in that job, I attended a Bridges workshop that completely changed my life. To be honest, it gave me a vocabulary that explained my past that I had no idea how to articulate before, and I loved it. And so I just felt this pull in my heart of you have to become involved in this work. And you know, we say a lot of times you have to be attracted to this work, and I certainly was. And in this picture here is Tom Martindale. He was the director of Muskogee Bridges Out of Poverty at the time, and he did that workshop, and he soon became my mentor. One day he came to me and said, I'm thinking about retiring. Would you consider applying for my job? I didn't even have to think twice. I knew that's where God wanted me to be. I think everyone in my town thought I was insane when I left the job at the Chamber of Commerce to run a nonprofit, but it has been the coolest 4 years of my life. I wouldn't have done it if I didn't see something that was working, if I didn't see people changing their lives, if I didn't see the tools that we were giving these families actually helping them and letting them help themselves to transition from poverty into middle class. It was amazing to see. And so I love this work, and it's been so much fun, and I'm so thankful that AHA Process has asked me to help and present with you guys today. We're going to have some fun. We're going to learn about this conference. We're going to do a crash course kind of in some of the Bridges concepts and people. So as you're going through these sessions and you hear terms, they're just going to be back top of mind, because maybe if it's been a little while since you've done a training or been involved, it'll all come back to you fairly quickly. So let's start off with a very important poll. I want to hear from you guys. Lynn, can you put the poll up for us? The very first one.
Yep, give me just a second.
This is audience participation, technological version because of COVID. Okay, so the poll is, are you wearing pajamas right now? You can select one of the following answers. Business on top, PJs on the bottom. I literally just changed a minute ago. 100% yes, or I would never. So if you don't mind, click one of those. Let us know. Be honest, your cameras are not on, just mine. If you want to answer, if you can't answer for some reason on the poll, you're welcome to answer in the questions box. Let us know.
We still have answers coming in, so I'll give it a few more seconds.
There's plenty of them. Let's give them a minute. We've got time. I know that we were scheduled to go for 2 hours. We probably will not go for 2 hours today. We'll get done a lot earlier than that. So we have got a little bit of time. If you haven't already, locate that questions box. We will be using that. If you have any questions as we go, feel free to write them in the questions box. We can communicate with you there.
Okay, I'm going to close the poll and I'm going to share.
Joe wants to know about how many people are on the webinar.
Joe, we have almost 200.
All right. Kellen says business on the top, shorts on the bottom. Okay. A lot of people said, I would never. I love it. So what this tells us is, we can still have fun with even though it's an online conference, we can still have fun, except for I just lost my entire screen. Hold on, guys. I got to figure out where to click to get it all back. Hold
I
on.
see Heidi's saying business with fuzzy socks. That's a great way.
That is a great way. Let's see what I'm sharing here. Can you still see my screen or no?
No, we're seeing a black
Okay.
screen.
Well, I see me.
We see you.
You see me? Okay. Let's see. There we go.
Yay.
Okay. I found a button. Okay. So your first assignment for the day, this is your only assignment for the day. Take a second, unless you're on your phone, take a screenshot or take a picture of your screen and take a minute and go to some kind of social media and post that photo. You can use the hashtag address poverty or hashtag bridges out of poverty and let the whole world know that you're involved in an online conference. And I'm going to give you a few minutes to do that because I know it takes a minute. And we're going to go back, and with those hashtags, we'll be able to find your photos. Edward says some of us don't wear PJs. I love that we can have fun and be lighthearted. So take a minute, take a screenshot or a photo of your screen, and find a social media platform. Doesn't matter which platform it is. It can be Facebook or Snapchat or whatever. Instagram, TikTok, there's all kinds. And just post that photo. If you want to take a selfie of you looking at your screen, you can do that too. That'd be kind of cool. And just remember that throughout the conference, you can do this as well. You don't have to just do it today. Or if you learn something really cool, you hear a quote that you just can't get out of your head and you want to remember, or you think the people on your timeline or wall should hear or see, feel free to post about it, just like we would do if we were at the conference in real life. Give you another few minutes. I will tell you that you can also take snapshots or pictures of your screen if there's something on there you want to remember, but you don't have to take a picture of every screen as we go. There will be handouts available for every session that you go to. Jean is asking, are we supposed to see Treasure while she's speaking? I don't know the answer to that.
It's okay. We're taking care of that one.
Okay.
Do you see Amanda? Yeah, hashtags again. Amanda, do you see them? Yeah.
They're right here at the top. Address poverty. So hashtag address poverty and or hashtag bridges out of poverty. I don't think I turned my camera off, did I? If I did, let me know.
We see you and we see your PowerPoint.
Okay, cool. Okay, I'm gonna give you another 20 seconds to finish that, and you can keep going if you want, and we will continue. Oh, thanks guys. They're saying, I can see you, I can see you. Great. We have to work together on this stuff. Technology. The great thing is I have a whole support team. I have Lynn and Ruth is available. If something crazy happens, they can help behind the scenes. I love having that. I'm not always technologically savvy. Okay, continue to do that if you want, while we're going to go ahead and move forward. So the next poll, Lynn, can you put up the next poll for us, please?
Yes, give me a second. All right, launching.
Thanks, Joe. Joe posted on Facebook. So is this your first virtual conference? Now, I've done a lot of Zoom meetings and webinars over the summer, but I've never done an actual virtual conference before. So let us know. Is this your first virtual conference?
We'll give it a few more seconds. We still have responses coming in.
There's so many of them. We're not used to having so many on one. It's wonderful.
All right, about 5 or 6 more seconds, and then I'm going to close the poll.
Is this your first virtual conference? Select one, yes or no.
Can you see?
I see myself. Okay. No, okay. So a lot of people have done one before. 38% looks like have not. So that's wonderful. We will learn to do this together. Awesome. Thank you guys. All right, let's move forward. So I want you to take a minute, write down something you're concerned about regarding this conference. A lot of times when we do this in real life, this may be the very first conference anyone's ever gone to, and they're nervous to meet people, or they're nervous they're not going to choose the right sessions to go to, need a little tips and tricks, or maybe they're not going to know the lingo, or there'll be people that they don't recognize. And so there's a lot of uncertainties sometimes that come with conferences. And then now we've added the whole layer of this being all virtual. So just on a piece of paper somewhere near you, just jot down something that if you've got anything that is concerning to you, or something you're thinking, I don't know if this is going to work, or anything, jot anything down that you want. We'll discuss it at the end. And if we haven't answered any of those questions at the end, then we'll come back to those, because if you're thinking it, I promise you someone else is thinking it too. So don't be afraid. And in the meantime, if you want to ask questions in your questions box, please feel free to do so. One of the questions already is I'm worried I won't be able to find my breakout session. Lynn, is that something you could address right away?
I can. So you will be receiving emails that are 1 day and 1 hour before each session that will have the links. So just watch your email in order to click on those links, and that should take you into the breakout sessions you've registered for.
Great. Thank you guys. We're seeing your questions come through. I've got Lynn and Ruth that might be able to answer some of you directly for some of these. But like I said, we're going to go through some stuff right now, and maybe we'll answer some of those questions for you. And if we haven't at the end, we'll bring them back up and we will discuss them. And we'll stay on as long as we need to at the end to get all your questions answered. We want you to go in this fully confident and have the best possible experience. So if you come up with questions throughout, just jot them down on a piece of paper or put them in the questions box. So let's start from the beginning. We're going to do a quick crash course in bridges out of poverty and getting ahead and where it came from. We're going to go through this kind of quickly because we're going to assume that most of you are familiar with some of this already. Just going to be a quick reminder, so when you hear these terms and phrases throughout the conference, it won't be like, what did that mean again? And so we all know that this started with a book. Dr. Ruby Payne wrote the very first book. It was a framework for understanding poverty. She then teamed up with Phil Duvall and Terry Drusey Smith to write the book Bridges Out of Poverty for Communities, which led to Phil going with the Getting Ahead and the Just Getting By world classes that were for people who are under-resourced or in poverty. Then, of course, Investigations into Economic Class in America became a college course. Then Bridges to Sustainable Communities, which is a multi-year, multi-level approach to becoming a Bridges community. Then you've got Getting Ahead While Getting Out and Getting Ahead in the Workplace. So there's many books available. You'll see we'll go through some of these, but when you hear these terms, we just want you to have a snapshot or a mental model, if you will, in your head of what these look like. If you've ever been to any of AHA Processes events, you may have gotten some Legos. And I love the Legos because it's a wonderful mental model of the work and the Bridges model that we have. We won't go over this in detail because I'm sure you've seen it before, but I love the way at the bottom, it starts with the foundation of the Bridges out of poverty constructs, and then it kind of builds into columns. And I think you can see my mouse here. And the column here for individual, which is you've got your resource and your under-resourced, institution, community, with the overarching bridge of philanthropy, policy, and quality of life. So I just love this visual that it gives us. And someone had already said, I'm wondering what the next step are for my community to have a Bridges initiative. And never fear, AHA Process has had many, many people come through in your position before and become Bridges communities, and they've laid out this really cool infographic in the shape of a map for you. And so you can see this, you can probably get this on ahaprocess.com under resources. And you can see the different steps you can take as a community as you learn to first introduce people to the work, have workshops, create a steering committee, create getting ahead classes, and it just goes on from there. So you do not have to reinvent the wheel. People have come before you who've laid out the best practices. And the one thing I love about this work is that people are all willing to share what they've done in their community with you. So if you have a question, you can always go to Lynn Jackson, who is the engagement manager, ask her questions. Hey, we're thinking about doing something like this. And she can say, oh, I know a community that's already done that. Why don't I hook you up? And you guys can communicate about how to do that. So I love that everyone is willing to share, because all this work is just about helping people. So again, we mentioned the books. You can go to ahaprocess.com. All of these books are available there. You can see there's columns at the top. You can see in the blue, these books are for the resourced. These books are for the under-resourced. You can see on this side, it is broken down into sectors, and I love this, and you can go and get any of these books that you'd like. These are broken out for the community, which includes Bridges Across Every Divide, which is a wonderful book, and it refers to all of the policy changes that need to happen. And one of the authors is actually on with us, Jean Krebs. Thanks, Jean, for being there. And I love the fact that we've got the authors of these books so involved in these trainings, and so you can interact with them as well. I have these books on my desk at all times. I make sure anytime someone gets elected or I see a politician of any kind, I make sure and just give them those books. Second level here is K through 12, so your educators, business, workplace stability. Ruth is online, the author of that book. Criminal justice. Just on Tuesday in Muskogee, we trained our entire police department in tactical communications using this book right here. Wonderful tool to make sure people in our community are all working together, using the same vocabulary, pulling on the rope in the same direction at the same time to eradicate poverty in our community. Healthcare workers, there's books and resources for them, and of course, higher education. I love the fact that it's broken down so easily for us. So let's talk about the lingo, things that you may hear throughout the conference that you just want to be familiar with. Again, if it's been a while since you've been gone to a training or been involved in any way. So AHA Process, of course, is the company that Dr. Ruby Payne created. It is a training and a publishing company. That's where you're going to get your books and get trainings. Poverty. It is the extent to which one does without or does not have equal access to resources. This is a kind of an emotionally loaded word. So a lot of times you will hear things like the under-resourced or those in chaos instead of the word poverty. It depends on who maybe you're speaking to or which speaker is speaking. You've probably seen this, the Trimble lens. You know, we talk all the time about what lens we're viewing things from at the moment. Sometimes it's an individual, institution, community lens. What lens do we have in our glasses right now in ways which we see the world, with the overarching issue here of policy. Daily instability, daily stability. So like I said, that emotionally loaded word of poverty sometimes can be a lot or have a lot of stereotypes and connotations with it that we kind of have in the back of our mind when we hear that word. So a lot of times you may hear someone use the word instability instead of poverty. They're interchangeable. Bridges steering team. This is your steering committee. A lot of communities, as they go through this process, will create a steering committee, have someone from every sector on the committee. We've just become a 501c3, a nonprofit, so we now call our steering committee our board of directors. But they are a group of people who are working with all of this information to address change in your community. Tyranny of the moment. That is the chaos of being in poverty. The fact that there's just so much going on and our bandwidth is overloaded that sometimes we just really can't focus on the future and make a plan because we're too busy solving the concrete problems of today. So you'll hear the words tyranny of the moment a lot. Under-resourced, again, that can be two things. It might be referring to the under-resourced college students class, or it may just be a better word for poverty. If you've got any questions, go ahead and you can put them in the chat as we go. Again, you can take pictures of the screen as you needed, but don't worry, you don't have to jot down all the notes. There is a handout for this and you have access to this handout. You will receive the slides. I see that's something you're worried about. Yes. 4 causes and areas of research. There are 4 causes of poverty, and it's one of our favorite parts of the Getting Ahead classes when we talk about this, and the Getting Ahead graduates say things like, wow, it's nice to know that it's not just about the choices I make. There are other factors at play here. And behaviors of the individual, yes, that is one of the causes of poverty, but it's also about human and social capital, exploitation of those who may not have enough cushion, and your political and economic climate. What policies are in place that are hurting people the most, who can afford it the least. Framework, when you hear this word, a lot of times this word's going to be referring to Ruby's original book that was a framework for understanding poverty. Getting ahead. So you're going to hear the word GA, getting ahead class. A lot of times when you just hear GA or getting ahead, it's talking about this very first class, getting ahead in a just getting by world. Typically when we're talking about the getting ahead while getting out, this is for felons and those who are trying to re-enter society. A lot of times that's just referred to as getting out class. And then the newest one is getting ahead in the workplace. Kind of the same stuff, but for employers to use with their employees. So a lot of times that'll just be referred to as workplace. So the power and reason behind the getting ahead is I have been so lucky to be able to work with Phil Duvall for the last few days and doing some getting ahead facilitator trainings. And I love seeing how the getting ahead work came about and where he came together with a group of people who were actually living in poverty in his community and sat them down at a kitchen table experience and said, look, you're the experts on what it's like to live in poverty in our community. Explain it to me. And so as they did that and he was able to give them the respect and listen to what they were trying to say, that's how this work came about. And I think that's why it's so powerful. I love the fact that the Getting Ahead classes don't have teachers, the fact that they have facilitators, meaning there's not someone in middle class telling people in poverty what to do, because we know that doesn't work. But the book actually teaches, and the discussions that are in the class is the teacher as well. And that self-discovery is so fun. And they learn through this book, and it's wonderful to get to learn together with other people in your class. And I think the power behind these sessions and these classes is unbelievable and is what's really making a difference. Investigator. This is the term we use for a participant that is taking the Getting Ahead class. So if you hear the word investigator throughout the sessions, we're referring to people who are Getting Ahead graduates in any of those classes. Investigations, I know the words sound a lot alike, but a lot of times the word investigations is referring to the college version of the Getting Ahead class, and it's more of like a freshman orientation type class that local colleges, all colleges, have introduced to their under-resourced college students. And so you can see down here, College Achievement Alliance is the name of that certification you will get. Hidden rules. This is one of my favorite parts of the work, is the unspoken cues and expectations that maybe aren't written anywhere, that every class, every family, every business, every community has, but nobody knows about them. And sometimes if you don't understand them and you break them, you will get the "you don't belong here" look. So kind of like if you have ever gone to a church for the first time and sat anywhere you wanted, what happens? You know, you get the look. Maybe you didn't know that the Smith family has sat in that seat for 30 years. It wasn't written anywhere, but you've now made a faux pas. And so these hidden rules exist in families, in churches, they exist in economic classes, and knowing that they exist can help you navigate each one a little better. Language registers, when we focus a lot in the language that you use when you're communicating, and the casual register versus the formal register, which is used in middle class a lot, makes a huge difference. So when we're talking about the registers, we're referring to this work on communicating with different people and maybe having the ability to code switch or be bilingual, where you can switch between casual and formal as needed for maybe, say, a job interview. Mental models. Mental models are wonderful. I'm a very visual learner, and so I love having a visual to go with a concept that makes it easy to understand, but even better, easy to remember. Meaning after I learn that concept with a visual, I can go home that night and probably draw it again from memory because it is now seared into my brain. So you'll see a lot of mental models. Resources. There originally were 8 resources, and after the Getting Ahead book was published, some of the Getting Ahead classes, the investigators got together and added 3 more, and you can see the list down here of what the 11 resources are. And one of the questions I always ask is, if you needed these 11 resources and you wanted to increase them, how much money would it take to increase each one of these? And a lot of times the answer is hardly any, if any, right? These are all things that we can work on building without finances. Sectors. You've heard me talk about sectors already, meaning the different areas of the community that can be working together doing the Bridges model. So I love that when we're building our steering committees, we can take someone from every sector. I try to have someone from every one of these sectors on my committee. So as issues arise or concepts that need to be explained, we usually have a go-to person who can help us navigate that area of the world. This is my favorite slide because it easily shows us all of the things we just talked about. You've got your sectors working together. On this side, you have your lenses, your individual, institution, and community. Your 4 causes of poverty are over here, and then you've got your resources down at the bottom. Staying ahead. Now this is going to refer to the way different communities continually support their Getting Ahead graduates. It looks different in every community, and that's wonderful that AHA process allows us to innovate with this work. So I know in Muskogee, Oklahoma, after you graduate your Getting Ahead class, there are 3 additional classes you can take to increase your stability. And so that gives people and the families like up to 2 years of being involved in our program, that we get to love on them and care about them and get to know their family, their kids, their issues, help them navigate problems, and just continue to add to their stability. So it may look different in every community, and that's the cool part about this work. So that's the lingo. If you've got any questions, feel free to put them in the chat or just take notes. The next thing you need to know are who are the players. Now, a lot of times when we're doing this conference IRL in real life, that you will see these people walking in the hallways and teaching the sessions. And so you can just walk up to them and say, hey, will you sign my book? But since we're doing virtual, they're going to be in and out. You'll see them around, but you need to know who they are. And so here is Dr. Ruby Payne. Like I said, she is the person who wrote the very first book, A Framework for Understanding Poverty, and her latest book, Emotional Poverty in the Classroom. Now, her husband, T. Bowman, is the Chief Operating Officer for AHA Process. And then Phil Duvall, the author of Bridges Out of Poverty and the Getting Ahead and Just Getting By World classes. Terry Drucy Smith, also an author of Bridges Out of Poverty, but she's the author of Bridges to Health and Healthcare. All right, we have a local nurse in town that does all the trainings for all of our nurses and our healthcare workers. It's a wonderful program. Then you've got Ruth. Ruth is the author of Workplace Stability. She's online with us today, so if you have any questions for her, you can put them in the questions box as well. And then in and out, you're going to see MCs. Even though this is a virtual conference, there will be MCs. So Ricky Frierson and Jim Ott are 2 wild and crazy guys, and you're going to love them. So I'm so excited to have them involved. And then, of course, we've been talking to Lynn Jackson all morning. She is the engagement manager. So as you have questions about where to go next or who can I talk to about what, she is the be-all, end-all, know everything in AHA process and in the Bridges work. And she's great about knowing who's done what communities are where. And if you want to just find maybe you need a Getting Ahead graduate to do a testimony and there's not one near you, you could call her and maybe she can find someone who can help you out. So here we are at this conference. I'm so excited. Again, don't forget we will give you these slides and you can have them, so don't worry about that. But let's talk about, this is our first virtual conference. There's got to be some tips and tricks that we can use to make this a better experience for all of us. And everyone's attended their first online conference one time, and this is mine, so we're all in this together. So the first thing you need to do is prepare your space. Make it as comfortable and as practical as possible. So here's my tip. This is the time when you can actually eat snacks during sessions. You know, it's not always something we can do when we're doing this in real life. And you can even have the weird ones that make things smell weird, like the Funyuns. So go ahead, eat all the Funyuns you want, but get special snacks that you can have so you can just sit down and enjoy your time when you're learning. Stand, stretch, walk. I always say eat makes everything's better with food. If you need to stand up behind your chair and do some yoga, I don't think the speaker will mind, but just do what you got to do to be able to focus. If you need to close your email so you don't have pop-ups throughout the session, because I have a little bit of ADD and I can easily get distracted with something popping up that I'm like, oh, that's pretty important, but I need to focus on what's going on so I can get the full value of this. So minimize your distractions if you can in your background and your noises. If you find the chat box or question box distracting, go ahead and close that. It's a supplemental thing. It's not mandatory. And if it's bothering you or distracting to you from the learning, just turn it off. It's okay. And whatever you do, always ask questions. Everyone here is fun and knowledgeable. They're the experts in their field. And now's the time to ask. So build stronger relationships. It's really cool when you can say, hi, this is where I'm from. See someone you know, say hi to them in the chat box, or if you see someone you don't know but you've always wanted to meet, say hi to them and maybe get their email address. You will actually receive email addresses for everyone at the end of the conference, so don't be worried about that. You can find people and continue conversations. So use the chat to greet people. You can send private messages on some of them that have the chat with the ability that says private on there. And you can have a side conversation if you need to. But just because it's online doesn't mean you can't have those hallway conversations that you're used to having when you're doing things in real life. So choose the right sessions. If you haven't chosen your sessions yet, take some time after this to do so. You can go to your registration, and there were 2 sessions, I think, that you can choose, one for Monday and one for Tuesday. Read through all of them and select the one you'd like to go to. Here's the cool part. All of these are being recorded. So if you are, and I always have this problem in real life when I'm at a conference and I'm attending a session or maybe presenting a session, but I really wanted to go to another session that's happening at the same time. Well, the beauty of it being virtual is they're all being recorded and I can go back and watch them later. So you want to write this down, or you can just wait and download all these slides if you want, but ahaprocess.com/breakouts. That is where you're going to get all the recordings for all of the sessions. Write it down. And I'm going to say it again a couple times throughout the rest of this, but ahaprocess.com/breakouts is where you can go and get recordings for sessions you've missed, or if you want to rewatch one, or that's also where you can get your handouts for each of the sessions. So that's something you're going to definitely want to check out. Oh, I clicked off. So understanding the agenda. I love that it's broken down for us in a nice, simple, easy way. When you look at the agenda, you can see here on Monday, we will all be in open general sessions. And that is all Central Time. So I know you're all in different time zones, so you'll have to do some math to calculate. And I love when they do these little sessions right here where everybody talks for like 15 minutes and we learn so much in a short time. It's one of my favorite things about last year. And then you've got your general session. Monday evening. I know you think, oh, this is just a morning event, but technically no. Monday evening, there's a general session that is going to be amazing. It's tell your story, your experiences, and your journey. We do this in real life at the conference every year, and I go because it touches my heart so much. Everyone stands up and for just like 5 or 10 minutes tells their story or how getting ahead impacted their life and where they are now. And I almost cry every single time. I won't lie, I've cried a lot. So just look to see which ones are your closing general sessions where we will all be in there together. And again, I said on Monday and Tuesday, I think there's one each day where you can select which breakout session you'd like to go to. So make sure you do that. Choosing the right sessions for you. Take a look at the whole thing. When you read it all first is what I do, and then I look at the conference as a whole and say, what do I want to get out of this? What do I want to really focus on? Knowing that I can watch a recording or go get the handouts from other sessions. So again, if I can pull the handouts from all the sessions, I'm going to get a whole lot of knowledge on areas that maybe I thought, maybe I didn't really want to go to that one at the beginning, but it really is a good one. So again, ahaprocess.com/breakouts is where you can get your recordings and print out all of the PowerPoint presentations. Oh, I went way too fast. Okay, we're going to try and watch a video real quick.
How do you get more out of conventions? Simple. You go to panels and ask brilliant questions. But panel champions aren't born overnight.
You need
Speed. Raise, 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 raise. Ambidextrousness.
left, left, higher, left, higher, left. Left hand cross. Cross like you mean it. Left hand cross.
Strength. That's 1 hour. 5 to go. Flair. Give me finger twinkles. Nice, nice. Give me waving blade of grass. Excellent. Give me beauty pageant. Beautiful. Give me, I have to go to the bathroom, Mrs. Hendricks. And that's how you get more Q's aid at the convention Q&A. Any questions?
I have a question for Shams.
Dude, raise your hand.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Can I go? My arms hurt.
Comedy Central's Best Friends Guide, brought to you by Geico.
I saw that and I just loved it. I had to share it. So don't be afraid to ask questions. These are people, the people who are doing these sessions are people you probably want to know. So don't be afraid to ask the silly question, or if you think it's too silly, maybe when you get at the end, you'll have their email address and you can send them an email, find them on social media and ask them then if you want to. And someone, I was reading through the chats while we were doing that and I saw a really good question that we're going to answer now. So how do I smooth during the social events virtually? You know, how do I raise my hand? Things like that. Well, here's the deal. The breakout sessions are going to be in a variety of platforms. Today we are using GoToWebinar. In GoToWebinar, you cannot use the chat box. It's just the way it's set up, and it allows for a lot more people to view. However, there's a questions box. The only people who can see each other's questions are the presenters. And so right now, we, Ruth and Lynn and I are reading your questions, and we can answer them verbally, but there is no chat box for you to visit in. Some of the sessions will be in Zoom, and some of them will be in GoToTraining. Both of those platforms will have a chat box where you can see each other and greet each other. And so you will get sent an email and it will tell you which one it's going to be. But I think the only ones GoToWebinar is going to be the platform is this one and the general sessions, just because I think those are a larger amount of people in each one of those. And so you probably in those general sessions will be using GoToWebinar, where there will only be a questions box that you cannot see each other in. But the other ones will be using Zoom and GoToTraining. There will be a chat box where you can see each other's information and share information and have conversations. You will also get a roster at the end of the conference with a list of everyone who registered, their title, and their email address. So never fear, you will be able to find people. With all of those opportunities, there's surely a way for you to do some really good networking. Get social. So we've already done a little bit of social stuff right now, but you know, you can get on Facebook and you can, there's different, you can like Bridges Out of Poverty. On Twitter, you can follow Ruby or AHA Process, and you can tweet about the sessions. There's things you learned. I love tweeting what I call nuggets of information. If I hear a speaker say something that just is an aha moment for me, I love putting it on social media for all my friends to see what I'm learning. And of course, if you do that, make sure you're using your hashtags, address poverty or Bridges Out of Poverty. Pay it forward. How many times have you gone to a conference and learned something really cool and then kept it all to yourself? So the great thing about this being virtual and these being recorded is if I hear something, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I wish so-and-so could see this. Now they can. You can share recordings with them or take notes and share it with people and hopefully encourage them when they go to some kind of conference or training and they found something really cool, they can bring it back and share it with you. So don't forget to pay it forward as you're learning. Certifications. Let's talk about different certifications that are available to you. And here's a list of some certifications that are coming up. The way you find these is you go to ahaprocess.com and click on events, and it'll show you where when different certifications are. They're not doing so many live certifications as right now as they have been in the past, so a lot of these are now online, which can be easier for you anyway. So there are some live ones coming up, and I don't know if these are online or not. They may be making those decisions now, but you can see ahaprocess.com/events, but there's a Bridges Out of Poverty training, workplace stability training, and emotional poverty trainings coming up. Once you get to that area in the website, you can see, look how many there are. There's so many. Tactical communications, or you can get certified in all kinds of stuff. So enjoy your journey. I love certification classes. Okay, So now what? Be present. Be engaged. That's the whole point of coming to a conference, right? Is to leave the real world behind for a minute, get with people who are on the same journey as you, working together and just learning together and learning from each other. So do your best to not have this conference on in the background while you're doing a ton of work over to the side. Decide to be present. Get the most out of this time together. And then, of course, next year we'll be together in real life. So have a great time, learn and share and connect with each other. I hope that you come away from Monday and Tuesday completely inspired and ready to go out and help people and change lives. And I want you to mark your calendars for next year. We will be IRL in real life in San Antonio, and it's going to be September 19th through the 21st, 2021. I cannot wait. It's going to be so much fun. We're going to have a lot of fun this year too, just virtually. So let's talk. I know that you guys, we covered a lot of stuff. We covered about the lingo that you're going to hear, the resources that you have, the tools that you have. We've covered the players, so you'll know who all the people are, and we've covered certifications. What other questions do you have that we can answer for you now that we haven't? We've got all the time in the world, and you can use your chat box or your question box because we are in GoToWebinar, and we can visit all day if you want to. But I know Lynn has been answering some questions, and Ruth has been answering questions as we go. So if there's anything you want to discuss, now's the time. It says, and Lynn, you'll have to come back on and maybe read some of these to me because I don't know if I can see them all.
I'll just remind everyone, yes, we're recording all of the sessions, including the main sessions, and they will all be on that landing page on the AHA Process website that we've been talking about. So you'll see the information from today will be posted later today, and we'll try and keep up as best we can to quickly get everything posted.
Yep, so give them a minute to get everything posted after a recording goes up, or maybe if there's not a handout there, don't despair, it will be there. Give them some time to upload everything. And I know that there's questions. I think all your questions have been answered about how you sign up for the different breakout sessions. So has that been covered well enough? Do they have to register separately for the Monday evening session, Lynn?
Yes.
Okay.
If you need that link, you can email me.
Okay.
And I'll send that out to you.
Email. And so, Lynn, can you tell us what your email address is? So just in case.
ljackson@ahaprocess.com, or you can go back to a previous email from me. Happy to do that. We did have a question that said, instead of calling Getting Ahead a program, are there other ways to talk about it?
Absolutely. A lot of times when we're talking in our community about our overall community is what we're doing is an initiative. Nobody owns it. It's not like Treasure owns it or our Bridges organization owns it. It's one of those things where we're trying to train everyone in the community to work together using the Bridges concepts and models. So we call it an initiative. Now, the Getting Ahead classes, we do refer to that as a program of the bigger initiative. A lot of times when I'm asking people if they would like to come to the Getting Ahead class, we don't say Bridges Out of Poverty. We just say, are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? Are you just getting by, and would you like to get ahead? Here's a cool class. Those kind of things. Now, I don't know if that answers your question or not, but if not, I'd be happy to go into that deeper. If you want to email me, my email address is treasure@muskogeebridges.org, MUSKOGEE, treasure@muskogeebridges.org. I'd be happy to answer questions further if I didn't. There's a question from Catherine, and I can't see all of it just because of the way my screen, I think, is set up, but is this going to be overwhelming for those who are in college? And I think, no. It's kind of one of those things where, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So don't try and do all of it at once. Don't try to take it all in and think, oh, I have to do all of this stuff to be like this group from Toledo, Ohio, who's been doing it for 20 years. No, let's just take it step by step. And the great thing about having Lynn as the engagement manager, she can kind of walk you through those steps if you need help, or if you get confused, ask somebody. We will all slow down or stop and answer questions anytime. So don't hesitate to say, I didn't understand that, or can you cover that concept again? We will all go back and help because we've all been there. Joe wants to know if we eat elephants a lot in Oklahoma. No. I don't know if we have any elephants in Oklahoma. Maybe in Durant. There's a circus down there. That's where all the elephants go to retire. Any other questions that you have? Now is an excellent time to put them in the questions box. Again, you can email Lynn at ljackson@ahaprocess.com. Welcome to email me, treasure@muskogeebridges.org. Treasure's just like treasure. Lynn, is there any other questions that you've answered that you think other people might want to know the answers to?
Not that I can think of. I
Okay.
will put a plug in, yeah, for Monday. Make sure that you have the correct time zone. We'll start at 10 Eastern, 9 Central, which is 8 Mountain, 7 Pacific. And those of you in Hawaii, I know it's much earlier. But
Maybe
we
the
are,
Hawaii people, if they don't want to get up early, they can watch the recording.
yep. Or you can get up and have your coffee and participate in the live
Yes.
sessions. The opening session on Monday goes very quickly, as Treasure said. We have lots of different pieces of information.
And you say the word, what's that word that we call them? I can't say the word. Do you remember?
The Pechakucha?
Pechakucha. And you can Google that word, Pechakucha, and it basically means what, like 10-minute sessions?
6 minutes, 6 minutes and 40 seconds people will have to share information.
So 6 minutes, it's kind of like speed dating for information. Like you got 6 minutes with each person, but they're kind of like mini TED Talks. I love them because it goes quick and it's fun and you learn so much in such a short time from so many experts. Will we be able to ask questions during some of the breakouts? Absolutely, especially if it's in Zoom. And if it's in Zoom and GoToTraining, you will be able to see each other's questions. But even if you're in GoToWebinar, there's the question box like we're doing today. You can ask the questions and you will get an answer from someone.
I do see a question that your link from Mondays was canceled. Walter, you should be getting a reminder on Sunday, and then again 1 hour before the session on Monday. If you don't, keep my email me and I'll make sure that we get you into the session.
Awesome, thank you.
Yep, so everyone will get a reminder 1 day and 1 hour before the opening session on Monday in your email. So just keep watch out. When you get that email that's 1 hour before, that's the link you could click to join that opening session.
And let me say, if you aren't getting those, to check your spam or junk folders.
Oh, good idea, good idea. Yeah, if you're having problems, don't freak out. Just contact somebody. But hopefully an hour before you have the link to what you need to have. And if you don't, then it could easily have gone to your spam.
Anything else, Treasure? Yeah, anything you want to share?
Oh, I'm so excited and I can't wait to see everybody in person, but I love seeing all the names and I try to remember names. So when I see you again in another session, I can say hi to you. Always, if you have questions, feel free to ask. I love doing this stuff. I love working with AHA Process. They've been so wonderful. And I love all the tools that they give us. I know that we are doing our Getting Ahead classes virtually this year, and they've been giving us some wonderful tools to be able to do that. Hopefully that'll be addressed somehow during the conference at some point. If not, get with Lynn and she can help you. Lisa, it's good to see you. Thank you. She said that they're still talking about a session we did last year. That's awesome. Hopefully we've answered most of your questions about how to do a virtual conference. And it's kind of new for all of us. We're learning together. And if something messes up, it's okay. It's going to happen. Just go with the flow and get with somebody to get what you need. If you get online and you can't hear, just say that in the chat box and somebody can maybe walk you through what to do. Don't be shy. All right, we will stay on for a few more minutes. If anybody's got any questions, you can put them in the questions box now, and we will continue to answer them. But if that's all we've got to present for you, so Lynn, if there's anything else for you guys.
We can all thank Treasure for giving us an extra hour in our day. So thank you.
Right. We went pretty fast.
Yay.
We covered a lot of information fairly quickly.
Yeah. And again, if you have questions, let us know.
Yeah, and if you missed anything I said or you want to hear it again, remember there's a recording and there's a handout. And so this was already prepared for you, so you don't have to go back and try to listen to where that one part was if you want to just get the handout and print that out.
We hope you have a good weekend. We're excited to see you all again on Monday.
Wonderful. Bye, everybody. I'll stay on for a little while in case anybody thinks of a question.
Joe, we have some great recordings already on virtual getting ahead. If you email Lynn, she can point those to you. You can point you to those